My name is Formila Rebecca, the Co-Executive Director of Community Center for Integrated Development. So today we had an activity on our project called Strengthening Community Resilience to Combat Gender-Based Violence, and which is sponsored by the German Embassy. We actually did a workshop for community-based organizations and religious leaders. Of course, they are part of the communities, and we know gender-based violence is something that happens in our community every day. And when gender-based violence occurs in our community, one of the first people the survivors or the victims go to are the religious leaders or community-based organizations. So it's very, very important to include them in carrying out this project in order to combat gender-based violence.
My name is Mundi Priska Iwunke, gender advocate and a youth peace advocate. Today, for the workshop on gender-based violence, I did a presentation on prevention and response, which I first of all identified the causes of gender-based violence. Some of it is poverty, gender norms, cultural values, traditional values. Then we talk about some of the contributing factors. We spoke about lack of knowledge about existing laws or protecting laws. We still spoke about poverty, spoke about economic dependence of women, and we move further to how we can prevent gender-based violence, which we spoke about sensitization, not stigmatizing the victim, punishing the perpetrator. Then we move to the responses that the community, be it religious leaders, be it traditional leaders, community organization can give to support the victim and to fight against gender-based violence. There we spoke about empowerment of youth, empowerment of girls, empowerment of women, economic empowerment. We spoke about building safe spaces for victims. We spoke about psychosocial support. And then we spoke about respecting laws that fight against gender-based violence. We equally talk about a chain connect, that is the various sectors of the society should work together to promote the elimination of gender-based violence. And we further went to talk about denouncing it through sensitization, talking about sexual education through sexual orientation of our kids. That was basically all what we did. It was a package for prevention and response to gender-based violence.
Okay, so today I had a session for the training of religious and community-based leaders, and the focus of my discussion, of my training, was the role of religious and community-based leaders in supporting and in responding and preventing gender-based violence in their respective communities. The training was more about how can religious leaders use their power and institutions to support people who have experienced violence in any form, and other issues like how can they do referrals, but also about how religious institutions can make use of the services or can extend their services to people who have experienced violence. Towards the end of my presentation, we got into a discussion on the ways in which religious leaders and community-based organizations can support different actors, can support different people in the community, can support people who have experienced violence in any form. So that was the focus of my discussion today.
My name is Naibu Musandemsa, and I'm from the regional branch of Cameroon Muslim Student Union. Today we are here for a wonderful workshop on gender-based violence. I've learned a lot. I've learned the causes of gender-based violence. I've learned how to prevent them. I've learned some tips on counseling when I have someone who is psychologically stressed with gender-based violence.
I am Madam Tekla Suneba from the Family Life Office in the Diocese of Buea. We have learned a series of things from this program, and practically we've learned how to approach victims and perpetrators of gender-based violence, especially of rape and sexual abuses. So principally that's what we have learned, and how to help them overcome the situation and to follow up the different steps in solving related issues.
I am Dr. Sali, the CEO and founder of Community Initiative for Governmental Action. It taught us how to give information in our communities. Traditional leaders, church, religious leaders, and school, etc. How we should deal with GBV cases, open case file, closing case file, how to treat personal cases with women which are affected, the victim, and also how to have concrete solution in our communities. In churches, how to talk with pastors, how to deal with such affected persons. We should learn how to keep our secrets, how to deal with a GBV case at hand, how to talk to people, and to tell them what to do. So we treat the case with a safety moment, and to talk to them in a peaceful manner, have a conductive atmosphere. That is what we were taught to do in GBV.
In most of our communities, the first place that people go to when they experience violence is our faith leaders. So faith leaders in most of our communities carry respect, are much respected, and as such they can play a very important role in providing support, but also in standing against violence, especially gender-based violence that occur in the community. So my focus on the day was how religious leaders and community-based organizations, leaders from community-based organizations can work together with the power that they have in their communities, with their respected status in their community. How can they can work together to provide support to people who experienced violence in any way.
It is very important for the participants, because these participants present here today, they are community-based organization leaders. We think that this knowledge, they will take it back to their community, back to their organization, teach their staff and the people that they work with. It's giving us a spread. We're trying to build a chain, a connection, working with these community organizations. Let them take it back to their society, back to their community, give a restitution of what they have learned today. With the religious leaders and the traditional leaders who are present here today, it is very important, because we all know that culture stands as a barrier for achieving gender equality and stands as a support for gender-based violence, in as well as religion.
As we return to our office, we plan to put in place a program that will cover the entire diocese, carry out training of representatives from the diocese, from the different parishes in our diocese, so that the various parishes can feel the impact of this training which we have taken part in.
I'm planning that, as I'm a leader of a community, I'm planning to go and discuss with my community and enlighten them what is happening out there. You know, the seminar is timely. There are a lot of things happening outside. Some people are afraid to talk. Some they are hiding. They are the survival, but they are not. They are hiding somewhere. So when the community is enlightened and everyone knows that if I'm psychologically affected, where do I run to? How do I go about it? Who should I see? Who can help me? I think it will be very important. A Muslim community, inshallah, I will organize a small talk with them, enlightening them what is happening.
I plan to use the knowledge in my community. I plan to a training with women leaders. I plan to talk also in my church, and a training with young girls.
The program was a very interactive one, a very interactive sessions, because we had a lot of debates where people came to talk about what the religion had to say about gender-based violence, or what the community assumes when it comes to gender-based violence. And we were able to deconstruct these norms of religion being part and parcel, or being that backbone of gender-based violence. And by deconstructing these norms, a lot of participants, a lot of the leaders, the community-based leaders and the religious leaders have been able to voice out or appreciate or acknowledge the fact that their mindset have been changed, and they are able to go out, or they are really excited to go out into the community and do their work of combating gender-based violence in our communities.
The participants are very, very interesting because they make valid contributions. They share their experience as they have been working on the field, share their thoughts, bringing new ideas so that we can build new models for us to better address gender-based violence.
I want to appreciate the organizers because we've seen a lot of things which many people are not aware of, a lot of things which many people need to be educated on. And as we go back to implement this, I tell you, every step of the way we'll try to put in practice what we have gathered from here, and the families that we are representing here will no doubt benefit from all what we've benefited today. Because as participants who are going back to Ket Across, we are the first beneficiaries, and we make sure the other families benefit.
A lot of thanks go to the organizers. It was a good one. It was explicit, and the base of GBV violence was really explained.
Yes, I want to sincerely thank the organizers. It was a wonderful experience. I'm very happy everything is okay. The organization, the lecture, the food, everything is okay. So I would say kudos to the organizers, and they should keep it up.
I want to thank the German embassy, a huge thank you to them for actually making this project possible and meeting our goals, which is to combat gender-based violence and leaving no one behind, which of course is one of the sustainable development, which is the sustainable development goal.